At long last, after 200 plus chapters of waiting, Dabi has finally revealed himself as Toya. Now, let's just be honest with each other. I think everybody at this point, if you have read this far, was very aware that Dabi was Toya. It's been in your face the entire time, and Horikoshi-sensei hasn't really tried to necessarily hide that fact for a very long time. He's just basically just did everything but just directly say that Dabi is Toya, and this chapter finally does just that. This is a very impactful and powerful chapter, regardless if you knew this was going to happen or not, because this is now making way for Judgment against Endeavor. It is time for Endeavor finally to face the past, finally face what he created a very long time ago, and will society still accept Endeavor, or will they shun him, turn him down, and call him a despicable, vile human being, and throw him in prison and lock him away? There's so many questions that come after this chapter, and it's something that has been theory crafted, so many theories. I himself have pitched in to talk about it, and everybody knows that something really bad was going to happen to Endeavor before everything was said and done with this series, because eventually Endeavor would probably be exposed some shape or form about his past. There's just no way that type of stuff could stay behind closed doors and not make it out into the open, especially with just how high profile Endeavor has been throughout the entire story, and especially in recent times, because now he is the #1 hero. But regardless of that fact, before I get into any of that stuff, just having the Toya reveal is just so wonderful, because now we could finally say it is fact, it is true. Even if we knew it was going to happen, just actually visually seeing it within a chapter, getting that confirmation is just so amazing, because now we can actually see true progression and growth with Dabi, or Toya in this case, and Endeavor's character, and, Shoto Todoroki, the mother. We can see kind of how they react to this now that their whole family situation is exposed to the entire world. This allows us to finally have movement with these characters, and I'm so excited for it, because, for a while now, these past few arcs has really been going out of their way to build up Endeavor as a character, and even Shoto as a hero, and how, he's looking at his father, the mother, and all that, and we've gotten a lot of development for these characters building up for this very moment, and it's finally coming back to them. They finally now need to kind of present their answer of how they feel about Endeavor. So, anyways, I have to say, in terms of artwork from this arc of My Hero Academia, there's been quite a few amazing panels here and there. I mean, the artwork has been absolutely insane, and I think many can agree with me that is definitely the case. Like, since this arc began, the artwork has just been insane. Like, non-stop quality artwork, crazy panels with, so many different scenes with Shigaraki to other minor heroes throughout this arc. There's been some crazy stuff in terms of visual artwork, but I cannot deny, when you see Dabi literally like the past, I am the past, and all that, you think you can forget the past, I am here, the past does not forget. When you just see the way the panel looks, and the way Dabi looks just so sadistic and angry, I love that panel, because it really represents everything that Dabi probably feels inside of himself. He's just like, I've been waiting for this moment for so many years, so long, and it's finally happening. He's so giddy, he's so excited, which explains his excitement that he's had throughout these recent chapters, because he knows it's finally begun. He finally can get back and Endeavor, the person that's probably ruined him and made him to what he is right now. It's such a good panel. In terms of artwork, I would say it's probably one of my top 10 favorite panels of the entire manga. It's nice, and I think it's really contributed to the fact that it's just been built up for so long with this reveal, and just seeing that, the past does not forget. Just that alone is just, I love the message of that. I really do, because even though a lot of people like to say that you shouldn't let the past completely define you, because obviously, even if you do horrific things, and you do absolutely horrible things, if you do a lot of good, does that mean that, the past disappears? Or does, nothing you do even matter anymore? Even if you do a lot of good and you save millions upon millions of people, just because of one bad thing you did, even if it is really bad, will that define you for the rest of your life? And that's kind of what Dabi is represented as. He's that stain on Endeavor's history, what Endeavor created, and will Endeavor actually show change? Is he someone that can be redeemed? Is he someone that actually can be a better person? And even if he's done a lot of good, will people accept him for what he is now or what he once was? There's so many things to really pull from this, and I love that mentality of it. It really just starts to make you think about just what Dobby represents in general, which, by the way, let's actually talk about that. So, now that it's all on the table, and it's no longer theory crafting and just trying to make up wild theories and stuff on My Hero Academia, and it's just straight out in the open now, knowing that Dobby is Toya, it really shows now that Toya has a lot of resentment. It's very clear. He has a lot of reasons to have resentment for Endeavor and even some of his family members because of just how they're able to even still be around their father to this day. Even if they don't accept him completely and they obviously have a lot of disdain for him, to even be around him and not go full-on Dobby mode, he probably has to feel very angry about that. He's probably wondering, Shoto Todoroki, why aren't you as angry as I am? It's very apparent that you probably experienced a lot of problems I experienced, but why are you able to even be around this band? And you see me, like, look what I've become. And I feel like Dobby, or Toya in this case, he's trying to figure out why his family hasn't done what he has done. Why are they not going out of their way to really spite Endeavor and go after him? And we do know the reasons for why some of these characters haven't. For instance, Shoto and the change and development he's gotten. And this kind of goes back to the previous chapter we've gotten for a long time now, is how villains and heroes, they're not going to understand each other. They're never going to understand each other, and the whole Ochako and, Toga stuff was another example of that, of how, Ochako, she wasn't able to understand Toga's plight because of just how different they are with their ideologies, and she would never understand that. And it's like, All Might versus, All for One. Their ideologies are clashing and very different. That's kind of what's happening here, is that, Dobby's ideology, he's probably wondering, like, I want to see Endeavor suffer, squirm, go through a lot of problems, but he's also probably wondering, why is it my family doing what I'm doing? Why is my family just sitting here and allowing him to do this? And he's just like contemplating this, and so he's doing anything he can to really just make sure Endeavor's tormented, where Endeavor really suffers for everything he has done. So Dobby's out for vengeance, he's out for retribution and all that type of things, justice in his own eyes. It's interesting, honestly, but the big detail about all of this is that what he actually did to this very point, and how he has actually been watching Endeavor. This is a very huge detail, because ever since Endeavor assumed the mantle of the #1 hero, he said, just watch me. He told everyone, but it was mainly meant for his family. He's like, just watch me. I can't say anything, just watch me, and you will come to the conclusion if I have changed or not, if I could be worthy of this title of the #1 hero, whatever, you will come to that conclusion. I can't do anything, just watch me, and you decide on your own. And who would have thought that those words that were not just for Shoto, not just for the mother, not just for the other siblings, but also Toya himself was tuning in and watching Endeavor. And in a lot of ways, you have it to where Toya was actually Endeavor's biggest fan. Because you even see within this chapter, he's like, my blood almost went completely cold when I saw that you potentially might die. And many might be like scratching their heads, like, wait a minute, you're really obviously wanting to get back at your father, but why are you feeling scared that he might die? And that the reason for that is very simple. Death is too easy for Endeavor. He doesn't want Endeavor to just die. He feels like if he just dies, it's easy. That it's over. And the man can't experience suffering that, Toya feels like he's suffered for a very long time. So he's like, I want Endeavor to go through so much horrible things. And in this case, he's like, what's the best way to really rip Endeavor down? Obviously, family hating him, but also rip away what he really endears and loves, being a hero or wanting to be the #1 hero. He wants to rip Endeavor from that, and so ruining his image amongst the entire world is definitely something that he would really relish in. So when you really look at this entire fight going on, I don't think Dobby or Toya is going to be going for the kill against Endeavor. I think that he might mortally wound Endeavor. Like, let's just say hypothetically, okay? If Endeavor gets into a fight with, Dobby and it's not stopped whatsoever and they really do have to go at each other, I do feel like Endeavor probably won't put up much of a fight because, one, he's injured, but number two, the shock of just seeing his son again, and, it's kind of like his crimes for what he's committed. He feels responsible for that. So I feel like Dobby, he would definitely permanently scar Endeavor, but I don't think he would actually end him, because if he was to end him right then and now, like in this story, Endeavor wouldn't be able to see the repercussions of how society views him, and he does not want that, because what would be the whole point of him playing that entire video feed live for everyone to see if he was just going to end Endeavor right here and right now? Yes, it would definitely put the final nail in the Hero Society, which has already kind of been nailed in already, thanks to just what's been going on in this arc, but now ruining the #1 hero to such an extent, it's just like, obviously he doesn't want to see Endeavor die because he wants to see how he handles the entire situation. And then you can look at it much further than that. Besides just, Endeavor suffering, another way that, you have Dabi getting back in Endeavor is by getting rid of Shoto. That's another good example, because if he was to kill Shoto in this arc, right in front of Endeavor, you can imagine how Endeavor would react, the pain and suffering he caused to see his own children fighting each other to such an extent, and he created one of the greatest villains, even though he wanted to create one of the greatest heroes. It's kind of ironic when you think about it, too. That's something to really think about, because, Endeavor, that was always his goal, to literally create one of the greatest heroes, someone that could surpass All Might. That's what his objective was, regardless of how impure, pure, whatever. The point is, that's what his goal was. And in this case, when you see that Dabi has now become what he is, Endeavor created the exact opposite, one of the greatest villains that the world has ever seen. And that is absolutely scary. You gotta imagine just the pressure on Endeavor's mind right now. He's just like, holy crap, what have I done? I've created something so awful. And this is obviously a callback to everything that happened with All Might finding out about Shigaraki. If you remember back when All Might fought All For One, and All For One revealed that Shigaraki was Nana's grandson, we had All Might really break down. He got very sad and upset, and he almost lost his will to continue fighting. I feel like this entire scene is definitely a nod to that. There's been a lot of symbolism and, parallels to All Might's fight with All For One, and I feel like Endeavor, once again, is taking another parallel to that, but it might be slightly different. In this case, I feel like Endeavor might become just so broken that he might not even fight back. He might not actually get the courage to fight back, because I think deep down, Endeavor truly feels like he needs to face judgment, face justice, that, what's coming to him. I mean, it's been very clear in these past few arcs that he kind of feels that way. He wants to redeem himself, but he doesn't know if he really can. I mean, he even decided to move away from his family and leave them in the house, and he went away. So it's clear that he's trying to face his own judgment, his retribution, and I feel like he would allow Dabi to do whatever he wants, but if it comes to Shoto, I don't know what he would do. I don't think he would allow Shoto to get injured, but I don't think he would actually try to hurt Toya as well. So it's just there's a lot of complicated things to really consider about this, but it's a fantastic chapter because of that. So, anyways, another big detail as well is the stuff with, Bakugo. I know I'm talking about, Toya a lot, so let's get into the other stuff. Bakugo does kind of start to breathe a little bit again, and he's like, absolute victory. He starts talking about this, and it kind of goes back to what he said in the previous chapters of how he wanted to win. He had a plan, and I feel like this is kind of applying that. He still has a plan, he still's got to do something, and I don't really know exactly what the plan's going to be, but regardless of whatever it is, Bakugo's about to make a play, and I feel like it's going to be incredibly dangerous because of just everything going on. And then on top of that too, we also have, once again, Gigan has finally arrived, which this makes the situation that is already dangerous, something that is scary already thanks to Shigaraki, into so much worse, because now we have Toya there, we have Toga there, we have Spinner there, we have Skeptic there, we have Gigan there, you have Mr. Compress there. You get the point. It's not looking good. Literally, it's not looking good, because Izuku, he's literally broken. He's not going to be able to move. Endeavor literally stated himself, he's injured, his lung is in agony, he's burnt his lung. You have the situation of Bakugo, he's bleeding out, he has a fatal injury. You have, Gran Torino, he's down, Aizawa's down. I mean, when you just look at everything, it's very clear that the villains have the upper hand right now. So if they really wanted to, they could just straight up end the heroes right there. Obviously, that's not going to completely happen. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't have every single character die. But I do feel like something bad is about to happen. It's really stacked in the favor of the villains right now, even if Shigaraki's injured. And I feel like whatever is about to happen, it's going to decide the fate of the outcome of this battle. For instance, who really does come out on top? Does the heroes win, limp away and slightly win? Or do the villains win and just they have to wait for Shigaraki to recover? Yeah, so it's an interesting chapter because now with Gigan's rival, it's scary. He's literally bulldozed through city after city without anyone being able to stop him. The only thing that could really kind of change the tide of the battle right now is getting to see Best Jeanist pop up. He's the only individual that could potentially pop up and do anything, but even then, I don't think you would be able to fight someone like Dobby, fight someone like Spinner, Toga, fight someone like Shigaraki, fight someone like Gigan. I just don't think he could do all of that. I mean, he may have the help of Hado and Ida and all that, but I just don't think he's going to really be able to do as much against all of those opponents. There's just so many things to consider. But I think I'm going to leave it at that, though. It's a crazy chapter. One of the best chapters of this arc. I don't want to say it is the definitive best chapter of this arc, but this is a good chapter. As someone that, I want to be honest with you, okay, straight up, as someone that didn't care as much as some others about the whole Toya stuff, I mean, it's interesting. It's good for the story, and I've talked about it a lot. I just felt like, for a while now, like, I just reveal it at this point, because we all know it is. That's how I felt for so long. And I'm glad to finally have the reveal, and even though I was someone that didn't really care, because I knew it was going to happen, I really enjoyed this chapter. Like, it's a fantastic chapter. It's perfect execution for something that we already expected, and it's like I always say with cliches, you know, even if you know it's going to happen, or this cliche is going to be the typical thing, it comes down to how it's done, and Horikoshi once again proved he knows how to do cliches. He knows how to do setups, and it's great. But I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, you know, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.